an honor to be a voiceover artist. I mean, I'm working on Sesame Street and I saw a clip of my job on YouTube. I got emotional. Do not always be on the lookout for money. Money will come. One thing I hate with a passion when I'm doing my work is let's manage it like that. That's not my language. Make sure that you are so good at what cannot be ignored. I got to Radio Nigeria for the radio drama, and then I met the then executives of the Association of Voiceover Artists during the drama, the radio drama production. They looked at me and they asked me, you act very well, you speak very well. Do you do voiceovers? And I asked, what is voiceovers? What do you mean voiceovers? The truth is, AVOA is doing its best to be louder on social media because if you check, the people at the head are not from the social media era. We are the ones trying to do the whole change. And I think it's also reflecting in AVOA's the way we handle our social media. But this year, plans are on ground to be louder, to amplifying our voices on social media, amplifying what we're doing, basically make noise, let people know, make people aware of what we're doing in the background.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Everything Voiceovers podcast, The African Perspective, where we talk about voiceovers from an African angle. We bring voiceover artists from the continent, from Nigeria to the rest of Africa, and then to the rest of the world. I am Tcode, your host, and I've got with me my co-host, the amazing, delectable, beautiful, and super talented Serah Johnson. Hi, Serah. Hi.
Hi, Tcode. Hi, guys. Welcome to another.
Yeah. Okay, I'm doing great, and I assume that that's what you asked because the network is really going bonkers today, and we're just struggling to have it work. But that's one of those things that we deal with in Nigeria as it is, right? But in any case, we have to do what we have to do. So, sir, you're looking beautiful, by the way. I like this pop of yellow with the, you're looking nice. Yeah. And how's it been at your end lately? Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been pretty chill.
Nice.
It's been really interesting.
Wow.
Really experienced.
Okay. It's still sort of very challenging to make sense of what you're saying, but then I'm hoping that in the final output of this episode, we can get the entire audio properly. In any case, I mean, from what you've said, I figured your week has been chilled, good, and stuff. For me, it's been just trying to keep up with social media and putting myself out there and that consistency to post and post and post. So I think I've been trying with that lately and also with my team. So shout out to the guys behind the scene helping to make stuff work. All right. So on today's episode, we've got another she's not a Gen Z, she's also one of the greats in the level of the last guest that we had. And for those who don't know, our last guest was the amazing Eric Maximus. And Eric spent over an hour with us talking about the voiceover industry and his own story, like his own journey into voiceover. So we have someone else who also is like, should I use the phrase cut from the same cloth? These are like folks who have been there for about 2 decades or so, and they've got experience, they've seen this, done that, and they are still very active in the business. Like at some point, we have to beg you people that please let us also chop small from this industry. Because they're still dragging all the gigs with us. But then these are amazing people who they've stood solidly by the industry through thick and thin, and they're still, doing a lot as much as they can to make sure that the industry works. And this time around, it's a lady, and she's a friend. She's a voiceover artist. She's a forced to reckon with in the voiceover industry in Nigeria, not just from an angle of being very talented and being one of the top female voiceover artists in a decade or more, but also the fact that she works with the Association of Voiceover Artists in Nigeria as the general secretary. She's done voiceovers for several brands in Nigeria and outside the country, very active, working with agencies, and just like Eric, you would ask, which brand have you not worked with? That kind of thing. So shout out to you. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the amazing Joy Ogbekenne. Joy, Welcome, welcome. Please let's just welcome Joy.
Hi T. Hi Sarah. How you guys doing?
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much for
Hi,
having
hi,
me on
hi.
your podcast. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure. It's been a long
You
time
guys
that
are
I've been
doing you
anticipating
guys are
this.
doing really good work. You guys are really doing really good work. Well done, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, as it is, I almost cannot hear Sarah. I don't know if you can hear Sarah, Joy. Can you?
It's glitching. Like it's glitching.
Oh,
Like I can hear bits of what she's saying, but it's glitching.
hmm. Oh, okay. So I'm hoping, very optimistic that Sarah is going to be able to figure it out at her end, and we'll have a great conversation
She
together.
looks she
But
looks
while
very chill by the sorry to cut you, my darling. She looks very chill. Actually, she's not even she looks on but
oh my God, the composure of a broadcaster, I can tell.
I'm not
Why?
oh
trying to.
I
my.
can
Oh
imagine.
my.
You know, and that's one of the things about our jobs, right? Audio creatives, we tend to we should know how to figure things out. Like, you cannot just be comfortable being a voiceover artist. You have to
Mm,
understand the technical side of it.
true.
You may have a live recorded session and you're in your home studio, or you're traveling elsewhere and you need to do a makeshift studio so that you can submit an audition. So, you can't just do without understanding production, recording, the technical side of it. Shout out to Sarah. She's a studio and audio engineer, so I'm sure she would figure it out. So that leaves the conversation to me and you, Joy. Yeah, now let's
For
talk.
now. I know she'll be back
For now.
for now.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna be back for now. Joy, how's it been with you in the voiceover industry? Like, people, I'm sure, want to know who you are, how you started in this business. So we're just gonna like do a throwback of how you got into voiceover, from the many years ago. So give us a gist, right? Tell us when it all started.
Okay, so we started it's been long ago. I don't know 2000 and yay, she's back.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome back.
No.
Okay, still not hearing but then I'm sure you're gonna figure it out.
All right. So
All right, Joyce.
okay, so I got into the University of Lagos early 2000s, I guess. And I remember I told my parents at the time, I said, if I'm not studying theater arts, I'm studying mass communication. Any course outside that too, I'm not interested. Because I've always been a creative. I've always loved um, creativity, the art of producing, doing things. So I'd always loved it, right? So I got into the University of Lagos, got into creative arts department, and then as soon as I got into the department, I began to like. At the time, I don't know if it's still happening now. At the time, you were classmates with a lot of theater artists, a lot of broadcasters. You come to class, you see renowned actors, you see broadcasters. We're all in the same class, so I didn't waste any time. I started telling them, "See, I want to be on radio." I just started telling anybody who cared to listen. Somebody actually took me seriously. The person works with Radio Nigeria. The person, yeah, at the time, the person worked with Radio Nigeria. I had friends at Radio Nigeria, so told one of his colleagues that I have a classmate or I have a classmate who wants to go into radio. This colleague of his came to the University of Lagos. At the time, I don't think they were friends, but it was just coming out. One of those two came to the University of Lagos, came to my department to look for me, and then asked me, "You said you said you want to do broadcasting." I said yes. Auditioned me there on the spot. Asked me to pronounce ONE. How do you pronounce ONE? Still ask.
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
One.
because that was what they asked you at the time.
No, mother.
Isn't it one?
It's supposed to be one, but I think it's supposed to like WAN or something. He told me
One,
at the time. One
One.
something. Yeah. So he just asked me to
one.
pronounce ONE. So I did my best. I can't ask me, I can't remember the correction. But he corrected me, said you pronounce it this way. This is season broadcast, I'm telling you. And then he said, okay, I like what I hear. because we had a conversation. He just conversed with me. I didn't know at the time he wanted to hear how I sound, but he just we're just going from one topic to another. We're conversing. He said, "Okay, I like what I hear. Come to Radio Nigeria. I might have something for you." So I went to Radio Nigeria. After, I think we didn't have lectures, or maybe I missed the lecture. I can't remember. But that was how passionate I was about being on radio at the time. Went to Radio Nigeria. I got there and I was given like a program to handle, a segment in a program to handle. Whilst doing that, I now got invited to I got invited to participate in a radio drama production. Got to the radio drama production on a Saturday. All this while, remember, I'm a student at the University of Lagos, so
Yeah.
got
And what
to
year
the
was this?
I think 2004, 2004, 2005. It should be
Okay.
2005 thereabouts. Yeah, 2005. So oh 05 or oh 06, one of those. No, I can't remember. Oh 05, oh 06. So anyway, I got to Radio Nigeria for the radio drama, and then I met the then executives of the Association of Voiceover Artists. Whilst doing the radio drama production, they looked at me and they asked me, you act very well, you speak very well. Do you do voiceovers? And I asked, what is voiceovers? What do you mean voiceovers? And they just explained to me what voiceovers was, and then they took me under their wings. I'm grateful to them because we do not have, at the time, we don't have the resources that are available to you guys. So at the time, if you didn't have somebody actively and intentionally mentoring you, it would take a longer time for you to learn, for you to break into the industry, because you needed people to tell you where to go, how to do. Like, I remember at the time, the then vice, I can't remember if it was vice president or an executive. The then he was an exco, a top ranking member of the association at the time, Mehia Mokwale. Then at the time, because he saw my passion, he would ask me to sit in studio sessions. I'd watch him record. I'd watch him do voiceovers. I'd watch other ladies, fantastic ladies at the time, do voiceovers. So I learned everything on the job. So that is how I was eased into. I started doing voiceovers from my second year in the university, and I've been doing it ever since. But that's the short version of how I got into Radio Nigeria. Met AVOA Exco, and they took me under their wings, taught me the things I needed to know to get started in the business, and then I learned the rest on the job. So that's it.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
Let me ask you, what was the first job that you did? Sarah, sorry.
Hey,
I this question was okay, so you're gonna tell me like the first real job you did, and then you're gonna tell me the first job you did that when you like got to know that you're gonna do this job, you knew that I don't blow, like I don't make
ah.
as voiceover artist for this
To be
industry.
honest, I can't remember the first job I did though. I cannot remember that. If it is that one, you're
Okay.
talking about like 20 years. No, I can't remember. But let me tell you the first job that let me know that, girl, you have a future in this industry. So remember, at the time, remember I told you that if you didn't have somebody intentionally mentoring you, or if you were not rugged in your approach, like if you were not going to people and saying, please let me sit in, if you were not sitting in sessions, if you didn't have somebody putting you through it, it will be difficult. It will take a longer time. So we had the big ladies of voiceover at the time, of voiceovers. Now, I remember a dear, dear friend of mine who recently passed, a dear producer friend of mine. He's very dear to me, very close to my heart. He believed so much in me. So we had this production Tura. That time I was still very new, but I had sat, and one thing about me, I learned very fast. I'd sat in sessions, I sat in productions, I'd seen how these ladies, how they read. I didn't know what it was. At that time, I didn't have the term for what they were doing, but I could see the way they were weaving their words, dancing in and out of words, phrasing their words. So I had an idea of what to do when it's my turn. So I remember this producer, his name is James Ilupo. He invited me for a production. It was Tura. And then he invited me. I was the only new person. invited me and two other ladies that were very experienced, like they were the joys of that time. You understand? So they invited me, and so I was intimidated. I was shaky. And imagine asking a newbie to come take announcer. It's terrifying because for you to get to announcers, the announcerial part of the script, you have to be like mid. You have to have gotten some level of experience to get into. Because at the time they were just giving me drama pieces. I'm a natural with drama, so I was very good with drama. But you see, the real baptism is when they give you an announcer script and tell you read it, and not in pidgin, in English. So they gave all three of us, because you know how it is. Sometimes I try to find the best fit for announcer, right? So they gave the other two ladies and they went at it and they cleared it. And I just looked at this script. I was shaky. I was like, no, no, Joy, you can do this. So the other ladies had done theirs. And then James now said, Joy, don't worry, you can do it. I got into the vocal booth, took my scripts, and I read the living daylight out of that. I read with heart. And that's another thing. Sometimes it's not about the expertise. If you have the heart, if you can nail the emotion, you're halfway there, right? So I read with a lot of heart. As soon as I was done, both the producer, the client, they just said that's it. That's what we're looking
Hmm.
for. Remember, I was up against very experienced voiceover artists, and they just went, that's it. That's what we're looking for. That's the take. That's the delivery. And I don't that was it. That was what sealed it for me. I just knew that I have a future in this. Like, no, this is my thing. This is my call. I can do this. So I may not be able to remember like the first job I did, but I know that that job was like the defining moment in my career when I was picked out of people that were very experienced, and they told me I had I gave them what they wanted. Yeah. So that for me, that job was.
Wow. Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome. I
That's
mean,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. Go on, Sarah. I guess you wanted to ask a
Oh
question.
yeah, no, I was like that. Like that's so incredible. It's crazy
Oh,
how
okay.
you
Okay.
get into school, passion just takes over, and that kind of redirects everything.
Yeah. Not many people had that kind of guidance. I mean, at that early stage in school. But
Mm-hmm.
now with this generation, I mean, in our own era where we're actively putting resources out there, it's very helpful and
I
easier
wish I,
to,
I I
you know,
wish I wish this generation of voice artists know how lucky they are. They have you at this point. You have workshops, you have voiceover training academies, you have an abundance of resources on in the
And you
internet,
know,
on
this makes
YouTube,
me.
on social media. Like, if you are serious, you can learn you can be self-taught. If you're
Mhm.
serious, you can be
yeah.
This
self-taught,
makes me want
a
to
self-taught voiceover
ask the
artist
question.
without
Okay.
depending on anyone. But at the time, we didn't have any of these opportunities. You had to be mentored. You had to, have people look out for you. Which is, I believe now, is still, but it's not like back then. Back then, you couldn't go online to see anything about voiceovers. You couldn't.
Hmm.
And you know, it makes me
Hmm.
want to ask the question in 2024, if you were to start all over again as a voiceover artist, what would, sorry, in 2025, if you wanted to start all over again,
In 2025, if I was to start all over again as a voiceover artist, so that I would go to a training workshop. I would go to a workshop. I'll get training. I'll pay for training. I'd study a lot of YouTube. Um, I would study a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of voice. I would understudy a lot of voiceover artists, especially the ones online. If you go on TikTok, there are like a million of them. Even though I exaggerate, but there are a lot of voice artists on TikTok, right? Yes, you have the voiceover challenges. But the first thing I will do is I'll get trained. I'll attend a voice academy or a voiceover workshop. I'll get trained. Then get on Instagram, start making connections with people like Tcode. Get on Tcode's training, get on Sarah's training. Like, by the time I'm done training under Tcode, under Sarah,
all the
under this person,
trainings.
under that person, like, I know that I'll be good. I'll be really good. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
So there's an abundance of resources. If you're serious, in a year, you should be okay. You should start having like gigs here and there, and make sure I network. I'd make sure I slide into people that I admire their DMs, and I'll keep see I can be very persistent. I'll keep bugging them till they talk to me, and I keep asking questions. So that's the difference. But even back then, I was still very persistent considering the environment at the time. I would leave school once I didn't have lectures. I would leave school. I would get
Like
to
it
the
will be
voice house. Yeah, I would
mm-hmm.
leave school, I'll get to the voice house. I would leave school and I would get there and ask, is anybody doing voiceover today? And because they loved my enthusiasm at the time, they loved it. So once I get there, they'll just say, yeah, Joy, enter, sit down here. And I'll just watch. I could spend hours just watching experienced voice actors record. And then there was also something I used to do at the time that I still do till date. If I have the opportunity to record, like do a live recording, now, because now we have home studios, so a lot of the time clients just send their work to you. But some clients here and there would like to have you record live in the studio. So when I get at the time back then, when I get to the studio, all my senior colleagues or people that I work with will go. I will sit down there with the producer. We will do that work together. So long as my voice is on that job, we will do that voice together. And they knew me, and my clients knew my style of working. Even producers knew my style of working. If I, Joy, didn't like it, that work will not complete it. Oh. I will do it again and again till I liked it. Till I like what I hear. You've worked with me, Tcode, now. You know how I work, right?
Yeah.
Till I like
Yeah.
what I hear. We are not living there. So, and funnily enough,
Yeah.
the producers discovered that when I eventually like what I hear, 9 times out of 10, it sounds better. Do you understand? It sounds
Mm.
good. So
Yeah.
I would stay there. If the recording can be just 40 minutes, post production can be like an hour, I'll be there till the very end. So that also taught me what I needed to know about production. I learned how to produce and what to look out for and all that. So that's the thing. It's been a very interesting journey.
Impressive. Impressive. And you said something which I want to hammer on. I must have said it before on the podcast, but I think it's really important for me to say it. It's like a tip that voiceover artists, especially in this generation, must pay attention to. A lot of voiceover artists from the era of Joy, Eric, to like the millennials and all, we're all millennials in any case. Um, most people had this broadcast experience. And for those who didn't have that,
Mm-hmm.
people like you, Joy, and Eric, you still like had your experiences with the association and with production houses or production studios. We're now in a generation where to do voice work, you can do it from home. Like you can own a home studio. And what's it has its own advantage, like a huge advantage for like speedy delivery and ease of work. But the disadvantage is that it strips off that experience of being with
Exactly.
professionals in the
Exactly.
studio, right? And so because you mentioned something about staying right there, watching the producer work and determining what is best. Exactly. So I feel like, and that's how I
Over
advise
the
a lot
shoulder.
of people who are just starting. Yeah, I tell them, if you have a professional job to do, this is not like you're practicing, rehearsing or something. Even if you have your home studio, but like, especially for those who don't have a home studio, I'd recommend find a production studio. Go there, do the job, let them like direct you and stuff like that, especially if they have experience. But don't just leave when you're done and expect that they'll forward the MP3 or WAV file to
No,
you. Sit down there, watch them edit. You would understand how the DAW works. You would understand how, the connections work, how they equalize and balance and everything. You will see how they get the soundtrack, the sound effects. Like, experience the entire production process. That's the
even down
way
to technical
you
You
really
know,
aspect,
learn.
what wires work, what
for a
like
lot
Exactly.
the
of
position of
people,
the mic, everything.
Yeah.
for a lot
Yeah,
of
Sarah, you're
people,
gonna say.
yeah, I was saying, for a
Mhm.
lot of people, they just come in and they're like, me, I just came to record voiceover. What's my and they've just focused on the voiceover aspect, and then it's as they go further into their career, they realize, oh, I should actually know a bit of this audio thing, and then by
Yeah.
then you now have to start running from pillar to post. I think it's important the voiceover, especially if you're just starting out. Stay behind. That's exactly how I learned production.
Yes, because
Stay
not
Yeah.
to
behind.
cut you, Sarah, that
Stay
was
over the
what
shoulder.
impressed me
Watch the
about you,
audio producers
Sarah.
doing.
Yeah, Sarah doesn't work
Yeah.
like a Gen Z. She works like somebody from my era. Do you understand? Yeah, because I remember the first time I got to your studio and I saw, I remember I asked you, I said, where did you learn? Remember I
Yeah,
asked you, I said, where did you learn to
yeah,
do? Because I
yeah.
saw you doing stuff. Where did you learn? Back then, you had to understudy someone. It's unusual. You don't get skills like what I saw by just doing your work and leaving. You spend
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hours studying, and you also understudy people that are experienced. And the funniest thing, these people don't gatekeep. These experienced people in our industry, they don't gatekeep. They are
Mm.
willing to
Mm-hmm.
share if you are
Yeah.
willing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree absolutely. And I'll just add to that. When Joy said that they're willing to share, they don't want to gatekeep. It's important for young people to be ready to not just go learn, but also to go serve.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who are in a position of mentorship and experts, they would welcome you more when they see that you have a heart of service,
Mm-hmm.
like you want to like help, and not that you want to just go there to take, except if you are for a paid engagement like a training or a mentorship or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like just a few tips that we needed to throw out there. So back to you, Joy, and Sarah, in case you have any question.
So I was going to
Yeah,
ask
okay.
you work as a voice actor, a producer, scriptwriter, and director. A lot of times, how are you able to balance stuff? And are you able to apply the knowledge from one field into other? How do they influence each other for you?
Okay, T, did you hear what she asked me? Because it's a bit glitchy. Did you hear what she asked me?
Yeah, she talked about being a producer, a scriptwriter, a voiceover artist, a director. How are you able to balance all this together?
And more than just balance, do you feel like more than just balancing it, right? Because I was just building up a question you would asked or rather earlier, and it made me wonder, right? Because at the end of the day, I understand that balance can be hard to find, but more importantly for me, it's like, do you feel like one part of the other things that your other skills in your other fields are able to influence your voiceover work, and how are you able to do that?
Oh, your audio is a bit glitchy, but I would
Okay, so let me reiterate. Like, how are you able to like? Is there a way that one arm of these things that you do key into the other? Like, how do you utilize both? You
okay.
know,
Well,
something like that. Yeah.
you stay
So it's a
this
two in one.
yeah, yeah. Well, wow. Like I said, you do voiceovers long enough before you learn how to do other stuff. You have to do other stuff. You can't just stagnate. You just cannot stay in one spot. You work with some clients, they don't have a script. They'll tell you, please write a script. But networking. If you do not know something, you reach out to any of your colleagues that know, ask them, I have this, many pointers. I've been blessed to work with colleagues that are very, very open to help. Most times when if I run into any difficulty doing anything, I ask, please help. I've been asked to do this, but I don't have a lot of experience. What can you do? Can you help? They put me through. I learn. I learn first time, learn second time. If another job like that comes, by the time I've already learned what to do, what not to do, right? So that's kind of like how I got into production. That's how I got into doing other stuff apart from voiceovers. Like, remember, for the production aspect, remember I told you I used to stay back in the studio. I still do anyway. And I make sure I learned everything that I needed to learn, just oversee the entire process. I actually enjoyed it. It was fun. You talk to the producer, you're watching him do. So I learned. So when the production jobs came, I remember the first time it came, I didn't do it alone. I asked for help. I'm never ashamed to ask for help. Don't know why there's any shame in asking for help, anyways. But if I don't know something, I ask for help. So I remember the first production that job that came, I asked for help. I went with a colleague, a senior colleague of mine, and I said, "Look, I've never done this before, and I don't do shoddy work. I don't do mediocre. The same passion and energy I bring to voiceovers is the same passion and energy I bring into anything I do, script writing, production, whatever." So um, I make sure I have a clear understanding of what the client wants. If the client wants me to write a script, I tell them, what do you want? Because sometimes the client have it in their head, but they don't know how to articulate it. They don't know how to bring it out. So communication for starters, I make sure I ask them, and I ask again and I ask again till we're on the same page. But and I don't take offense if I bring the first draft and they say this is not what I want. I ask again till we're on the same page. So communication at all times. Then effective time, I make sure I manage. I also make sure I work with people that were all on the same page. Like, as I'm trying to put this in a very nice way, there are some people that will not help or will make anybody that can work easier. I make sure that I ask them to join me. If it's voiceovers, if it's script writing, if I do not have time for a particular, maybe if I have like a complete package, production, script writing, that for me to get it done effectively, if I outsource, if if I have to have somebody help and do a part of it just for me so I can be effective in other areas, I will. So it's an all round thing, effective communication, make sure that I make sure the clients, I keep the clients 100% on the job. I let them know this is what is happening. I define roles, I define abilities. I make sure that if it's a lot of work, I outsource to people that I trust. And thankfully, it's been a great ride. I live, these days technology makes work really easy. I learn continuously. I make sure I
Yeah.
improve. I'm always improving, learning. Even things that you would think I don't need to learn, as if I will learn it. Oh, um, the the production.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, that was me
Yeah.
trying my hands out on production without having to. Yeah, that was all me.
Ah,
Do you understand? That was all me.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that was
Well
all me.
done.
Yeah, because sometimes if you are waiting for somebody, maybe you have a particular producer in mind and the person is not available, and but somebody, you just need to start work. Did you understand? So you just have to keep learning. You have to learn. If somebody's doing something for you, make sure you learn that thing so that in future it will come in handy one way or the other. So that's about it. It's just knowing what to do, how to do things, ever be afraid or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a lot. Well done to you, Joy. I mean, over 20 years. Yeah, you must have picked a lot of stuff
And
and
you know,
it's working for you. Mm-hmm.
and you
Go
know
on.
what strikes me the most is the fact that even after 20 years, you haven't gotten complacent. You don't feel like you know every single thing. You're still very excited to try your hands at new things, and that's what a lot of people lack. And they've done something for only like maybe half a decade. Like, yeah, I already know that. And they think,
five
oh, I'm the big
years.
fish.
Yeah.
I don't need to. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm grown past that. Why should I have?
Yeah.
And the thing is, times are constantly evolving. Trends are constantly changing, and if you never learn to adapt with the time, you're just going to fall by the wayside. It's amazing. Well done, Joy.
Okay. I want to ask you a question, Joy. Do you remember the first international voiceover you did?
Yes, uh, I remember, and it was
Tell me about it.
amazing. It was an see, just like
Okay.
you know, think it was. I remember. So it was for some wonderful women in the US. Yes. So they had actually sent so it was on one of the sites, yeah. I put up my profile, put up my put up my now I can't I, so I think I auditioned for it and I forgot. I just abandoned. I didn't even go to the. I wasn't checking my emails. This I'm telling. This thing was like 17, 2017. So I wasn't checking my emails. I wasn't doing anything. I just abandoned. I just auditioned and abandoned it. So apparently they reached me. They couldn't add emails. They went to Facebook to look for me. They took my name, Facebook, and that was I think that was it was on Facebook. I now saw, hello, my name is blah blah. Um, I did you did this for us, and we loved you. I loved your voice, and that's one thing I love about international clients. Dilly dally. They know what they want, and if you are what they want, they will go all out to make sure. I know Sarah is smiling. Yeah, you know, right? If you are, if you are, if you want, if you sound like what they want, they would make sure that they try to get to their project. They don't dilly dally. They don't play games. As far as I know, right? Actions with them, right? So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. So they reached out. They said, "We love your voice and would like to have get on would like you to get on a call with us so that we can explain to you what the character sounds like." So I told them, "Oh, fine, it's fine." That was when I started going to check email, check this, that. So I gave them because of them. I think I got a Skype handle that very day. I wasn't on Skype. I don't know. And sometimes it's good to be prepared. That's why I say a lot of you guys have resources now. Back then, it wasn't a thing to do no jobs. I don't know if I'm for me, anyways. I don't think it was a thing back then. I got my Skype handle, got a Skype account, and then we got on the call, and there were like these three wonderful women. I think a Jamaican was among, but they were all Americans. They were all living in America. So we got on the call, and they were like, "Oh, they want me to sound this way." So I was doing all of that, and my background in theater really helped. It was an acting gig, so they needed a lot of drama. So I did all that, and they loved it. Okay, we're gonna give you. You get the role. We're going to give it to you, please. I didn't have a home studio. So, but once they told me they put me on the job, I got on the job. I went to a job with them. That was it. 6 lines, six lines. Was it was 6 lines? But it had a lot of acting. It wasn't flat. It wasn't a flat delivery. They needed a lot of drama. So I just gave it to them, and that was it. So it was very memorable because the ladies was even the Skype call was like I was chatting with friends. They were so excited. Oh, we're so excited to have you from Africa. Blah. It was a wonderful experience. I had a lot of and very, very insightful. It was very insightful. So yeah, that was my first job, and
And do you remember how much you got paid for that job?
Tcode, Tcode,
I just want to know. I mean, it's 2017.
T
Nothing can go wrong.
Tcode. Um. Okay, so it was 800.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
In
For 6
2017.
lines in 27. Yeah, your first international voiceover gig. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was okay. That was like good
that was a
actually.
lot
Good. I
Mm,
actually.
pretty
mean,
good.
come on.
That was a lot.
For 6 lines,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That was,
Yeah.
a lot.
6 lines.
No, but the thing
Shout out
is,
to you, Joy. And then
but you know how these people work. They give
go on.
value. They give value based on. They don't. I don't know. I'm trying to. They don't price like crayfish. They don't do that.
Hmm.
They don't do all that. What I've discovered, they don't do all that.
Yeah.
It was actually a big project. So I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, $800 wasn't much. But they know that okay, this person is bringing this to the table, so we'll have to, do her properly, do right. Understand? So they came at me the way I'm sure that they treated me the way they probably treat their people over there abroad and all that. They gave me standard industry rates. I want to believe so.
Yeah. And and who put you on international gigs? Because I know that it wasn't a thing at the time,
Yes, it
even when
wasn't a
you
thing.
started.
It wasn't a
A lot of voice
thing.
artists, yeah, people just depended on agencies and stuff. So how do you know about this pay to play sites, casting, and all
I
of
think
that?
one day I was just bored and I was having like a slow season. Not a lot of jobs were coming. So I was just like going online. I was just going online. Just okay, jobs. I was just voiceover jobs. And then let's see places like voices. I had all the time in the world. So I just started, opening them. Started opening profiles. And remember I didn't have a home studio. So part of the that's why I said I was bored. It's not like I had because I didn't know anybody who was doing international gigs at the time. Like coming out. It's not as common as it is now amongst our peers and all that. Then it was common. So I was just doing it. I didn't have a home studio. So I would just say just in case, I was just putting my name, putting my voice there. Voice 123 voices, just spreading it. And just like that, it came. It came. I did auditions. Some of the done before at the time. I just uploaded it. I didn't even have like professional demos. What I had was actual jobs up there. Yes.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about something that's really, really pleases you there. Apart from your years of experience and the jobs you've done, and all your wins, but something that if I think about, I can't think about it without seeing you as an OG. It's the fact that you have served the industry for many years now in the capacity of an executive of the Association of Voiceover Artists in Nigeria. And this is an association that is over 20 years old as well. And when we talk, you still have stories of when the association was still like quite younger. And you tell me about people who have served and, they're like done, like people like Auntie Daphne, so like I feel like you're an OG in that regard. So tell me about your story with AVOA and how you got to this point where you are the serving general secretary. Is it secretary general or general secretary? I don't know
Whichever
which
one you
you
prefer.
prefer to use. Of
Secretary General, General Secretary
of
of
the
the association.
association, and you're serving under the
Check my
president Shegun
reason.
Arinze. Please go on.
Um, Remember I told you that at the time I got into voiceovers, we didn't have the wealth of resources available now. Ava at the time
Mm,
was the only place you could go to get voiceover talent at the time. Ava was voiceovers. Yeah. If you wanted the best hands in the industry, so it only made sense that and thankfully, like I said, I was even discovered. My talent was I was mentored by the OGs of voiceovers,
mhm.
the senior colleagues, the teams of the association. So they mentored me. I learned a lot of what I know about voiceovers, even how to negotiate, um, how to read, because it taught me um, service. I used to have this mindset of nobody can cheat me. Nobody, you can just, but that kind of. I was very now. I was ready for. I was back all times. There's a word I'm looking for, but I can't seem to reach it. Like nobody can get to me. Nobody should cheat me. Why is this client treating me? Why is this? And to be honest, sometimes if that was the case, but I remember the one of the senior members, look, clients, this is the person who is employing you. There are better ways to go about it. If the person is doing this in a certain way, you can respond this way. You don't have to be so combative. That's the word. You don't have to be so combative. You have to learn how to relate with your client. So I learned a lot of the things. Like I said, I learned a lot from time before I now, became strong enough to stand on my own, so to speak. Yeah, so it's only natural that you stay long enough in a place you're expected to serve to help make the association better. Because that's what happens. The older ones leave, the younger ones come up. So haven't stayed that
Mm.
long. I met the people like Mr. Kevin Bushi, I met Auntie Daphne, Ehiomo Kwale, trying to remember Mr. Jide Moronfoli. These are all past presidents and executives. To a point, they started asking me to serve. Look, you have to serve. You have to help this make this association better. You can't just be in the sidelines. You just can't be in the background. These people are getting on, and they need. Hello, is anybody there? Okay, and they need help. All right,
Yeah,
and they need
continue.
help. So it, and I decided, why not? I might as well help. You know. So I came in. I think I came in as PRO, the public relations. Helped to manage social media before the secretary of the association. So it's basically about service, really. It's all about service. Getting there, the association helps you. You, in turn, you have to help the association. You have to serve. Make the industry better, make the association better. If there are any lapses, try to find out why those lapses are there and make it working. We're not perfect. AVOA is not perfect. Uh, it's not perfect. But the thing is, when you come in, you have to make sure that things are better than when you met it. To get. So I'm just
Mm.
basically there to help make things better. Because if everybody is to stay outside and say this is wrong, and you're not doing your bit to make sure things are working, it's not you're not at the end of the day, you think you are looking at yourself. Because if the association is strong enough, the association stands, it benefits you as a voice at the end of the day.
Mm. Wow. Many years of serving the association, like PRO to general secretary. Like, yeah, it's quite interesting. Now, do we talk about the association a little bit? Because this is an opportunity actually to talk about the association, whether we like it or not, right? And you did make mention of the fact that um, there's a lot that can be done to help the association, meaning it needs help. And that also, we can also look at it from an angle of saying, probably it's weak in certain areas. In my own opinion, I also feel like one of the reasons why AVOA was very strong back then was the fact that you said it. People would definitely find what they're looking for in AVOA. Like that's the hub of voiceover artists, which the internet kind of like took that power away, right? Things were democratized, and I think Avoa wasn't ready for that phase of the industry. It wasn't prepared to become, you know, it didn't even see the internet as its competitor. So I think that was one of the things that pushed Avoa aside, and people now began to do voiceovers without necessarily needing Avoa to connect them, with the agencies and stuff like that. So right now, with the state of which Avwa is, for context, for people who don't know, like that's the Association of Voiceover Artists in Nigeria, and um, let's just say that the association needs a lot of
But the thing
help
is,
to
yes,
grow.
our voice is still a voice, but it needs.
Yeah, it's a voice, no doubt. It's just that it's how people. It's how do I put it? 'Cause I want to explain from my own
Okay.
angle, and you can also explain from your own angle. But then the point of this conversation is we're trying to look for a solution to it, right? Um, like when I came into the industry, nobody was talking about Avwa at the time. You needed to ask deliberately that is there an association for voiceover artists before you got an answer, and a lot of times the answer would be a very cold one. So it only felt like, who needs AVOA in this generation? I mean, come on, we don't need AVOA. But the more I went further, I realized that we actually do need AVOA. Like, starting from how much you charge as a voiceover artist, AVOA is
For
responsible for
certain
that.
industries,
And beyond that, we need, yeah, certain industries, exactly. We need people that look out for us and can say, "Oh, this is the
advocacy,
problem you're
yeah.
having. We're going to fight for you in this case." Yeah, exactly. So I saw that there's a need for AVOA, but there's this cold treatment that people, especially people who are already doing stuff, were giving to AVOA. And the more I investigated, I realized that they had their reasons. It could be defendable as well, maybe because of some, past
Yeah, I
interactions
just
with
think
AVOA,
it
and they felt
was
like,
a miscommunication, so to speak. Things happened that were not properly dealt with. You understand? So, and then a miscommunication. This person feels slighted, doesn't say anything, just walks away, and the people at Avwa have no idea. Like they have no idea that this is what is going on. You understand? So I just feel like communication. I feel things, and maybe some things were not properly handled in terms of public relations. Do you get
by
by
AVOA.
Avwa? Yes. So well, that thankfully, Mr. Shegun Arinze is doing his best to correct all of that. So we're on it. We're on all of this, the public relations and putting ourselves out there, creating awareness about AVWA advocacy and
All right, and that's a very good one. I work with you. I work with the president as well. So these are some of the things that I'm privy to. I also have a theory which I think it's necessary for me to put out there so that people have more context about this, and we can, together find a solution for the voiceover industry in Nigeria. I feel like Avwa was growing and not getting younger. That's a way to say that the same people who were administering stuff at Avwa, they were the same set of people, and younger folks weren't getting into the fold. And I mean, the older it got, the farther it was from the reality of the industry, and wasn't better prepared to deal with these
I think that's
realities.
because of
So people
social
like
media.
myself and
You know that, right?
yeah. So let's put it this way. If Ava was very strong on social media, like if Ava was heavily present on social media, we would be part of it. Like there's another association, APVA, right? And it's predominantly young people. And so I feel like the range, the age range of people in Ava, not to cast any
The
aspersion on anybody,
millennials
respectfully speaking, you know, yeah,
or boomers.
there's a need for the fresh blood.
I can see
Right,
I don't think
so I
it's
mean, I need to be careful.
okay. So I don't think
Go
it's
on. Sarah, you want to
I
say
don't think it's just a matter of social media. There are still successful voiceover artists and organizations like that. Their presence is not crazy on social media, but they still manage to send you like maybe email, like you're on the mailing list. Get
Yeah.
you get a mail like every other week. Yeah, but still at the end of the day, I think social media is a major part. And it doesn't even have to be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn. Just something to let us know you're here, present, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah. And I'll just say that even that is an expression, an external expression of what is from within, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had more of the, people will have the energy to make things happen, which in most cases are usually younger people. They're like the folks who know how to get this done quickly and aren't so burdened with so much pressure in life and all of those things like that. Respect to my folks. It's easier to have social media on lock and other things on lock, but for the people who have served for years, one, there is that fatigue that comes into it. Two is that life experiences to evolve with time, and Ava just becomes one of those chore rather than the main thing. So this conversation, as you can tell already, is we speaking for and against in the manner that we're seeking to find solutions, and we're talking about it empathically, and not like we're trying to combat and say, oh, our words failed us and this and that. No, 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 no. Because I think I'm done listening to those kind of conversation.
They don't
All I
help
just
in
want to
any
hear
way. I always
is
say those kind of
way
conversations
forward.
don't help. When
Yeah.
you say all that, help, it just, I don't know. I feel a certain type of way when all you do is complain. And I don't see you making a move to say, because I know that
Mm.
in AVOA, there's always, you know, these things, you've worked with us. There's always that need for an extra hand. There's always, you know, there's always room for an extra person to come in. There's a lot of work, a lot. Like it's a lot of work. A lot of people have no idea the amount of work, even for the fact that we're not as out there as we ought to be. But even where we are right now, it's a lot of work running the association, and there's more hands. Not to talk of expensive. So when people come and they say all sorts, and I'm wondering, you're saying, oh, have you helped? Done. How have you offered your services? We're all in this together. We're all doing the same voiceover jobs. I don't think Ava is one. It's all of us. We're all the same voiceover artists doing, we're all in the same industry. So when you keep complaining and you don't make a move to help, I'm wondering how.
Well, you have said it. It doesn't really. So I think that there's the other angle to it, which is constructive criticism. There's no smoke without fire, right? So people say things, they may not put it in the right way. They may express it out of frustration or whatever agenda, but there has to be some elements of truth in whatever anybody's saying, which now leads to the point of filtering whatever is being said and trying to find, a lasting solution to it. So I think Ava also needs to step up in a couple of things. Now, a lot of times I get people asking me, I want to be a member of AVOA, I want to join AVOA and stuff like that. My fear is not, I mean, it's good to know that young people are now getting interested in AVOA, but on the other hand, it's important for AVOA to also be ready to take in these people, like create that roadmap for them to get assimilated into the system so that they can work. Else, people are just expressing interest, but AVOA doesn't even know how to handle this. So, and that's just my own perspective to this, or whatever I think I need to say. But
No,
so
but
far,
in response to that,
I just
sorry
want,
to cut you. In response to
yeah,
that, I'm thankful that the president in now, Mr. Shegun Arinze, he is very, very, very youth oriented, and he also has the mindset that, look, we're just there for the meantime. The future belongs to the youth, like it belongs to the young ones. If we're going to move forward, the youth have to come in. So it's not about Avwa not being right as it is now. I think you're aware of some of this. He's asked for um what's documents like roadmaps. How can we do this? How can this be done?
yeah,
How can we be better? What can we do? He's always looking for ways to do things better. So whilst, like I say, I always say this, we're not 100%, we're not there, but we are
yeah,
working on
yeah,
getting there, on doing things that we. And for that, he's
yeah.
very, very interested in bringing the
Like
young, as
what?
many as
Okay.
possible.
Like,
Sarah,
I mean, I know we've had this conversation before. I mean, off
yeah.
camera. And me, instead of asking the same questions, I'm just going to ask follow up. What would you say are steps that I'm taking since then to do these things?
What
Yeah, yeah.
the workshops, we've done workshops. We've reorganized them.
Just I don't know how you, but anyway, just respond to the question.
We've
I don't know
brought
what part
people
of this
in.
casting would hit me.
we've
Ah, I know where you're going.
we've brought people in that are very hands-on, have a very good idea of administration. They're very good with social media, and like I said, very good with administration. So people that can help organize, because I think part of the issue is organization, knowing what works, knowing how to do it, knowing leveraging technology, make things easier. So we've brought people in that would help to remove all the bottlenecks, all the things that, all the system, the old system that wasn't helping us, that was clogging processes, that was clogging the whole thing, making it difficult, cumbersome. We now have, we've brought people in, and we're still on the lookout for people that can help make everything seamless and, less and stressless, so to speak. And we're on it. We've done like the workshop. We've done the workshop to bring the young people in, and now we're on the human resource part. People that will come in to help make the whole thing seamless. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing. Tcode, Abi?
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. Sounds good. But
Yeah.
so I'm still going to say, right?
Yeah.
Being active on social
Yeah.
media
Go on, Sarah.
is still just going to amplify whatever is going on inside, really. So I feel like there are certain things that could still be sorted, right? Because I mean, when people look to AVOA, more than just workshops, because we have a lot of people that are doing workshops and trainings and what. More than that, I think voice artists really need AVOA to play the big. I need you to go and knock on the door of the person that has refused to pay me, the person
Oh,
that
we're
signed the
doing that.
contract and he's breached, the person that's used AI to clone my voice.
Oh, we're doing that. Avo has always done that. I remember, was it last year or 23?
It was last year.
Oh, yeah, Tcode, you're aware. I remember the president asked everybody who was being owed by any agency in Nigeria to send their details, send how much they were being owed, what job, what account, send everything so that the association can take it up from there. And I think 95% of, if not all, everybody got paid. Every
Okay, that's good.
I remember.
You remember?
So I think these are the things that
So
I think these
well,
are the
for
things.
that
These are
one,
the
for
things that need to
advocacy
be
and
amplified on social
taking
media.
on, yeah. No, the thing is, AVOA, first and foremost, beyond every other thing, AVOA protects the that if you're not in the association, you wouldn't. AVOA protects the
That's
interest
what
of
I'm
its
saying.
members.
So
Yeah, we've even had people
okay,
from outside AVOA come in to say, look, well, I'm having a problem with this agency. They've held my monies for this long. I need help. And AVOA has taken on the case. So,
oh no problem. I hear you. I hear you. Right. So
okay.
that sounds great. But the thing is, if I didn't have the opportunity to be speaking to you like this right now, I wouldn't know.
Well, that's true.
Do you
That's
understand? So you cannot limit that information to your members and say, oh, we help our members. How do I know that you do this in order to become a member? Do you understand? That's why I say everyone needs to amplify these things on social media. Then you
you're
give
very right.
me a reason
Serious.
to.
We need to do more work on
You
social.
understand? You give me
I
a
hear
reason
Seriously.
to
you.
join. Like I mean, if you talk about Nava, like now if you look out for Nava voices on social media, they make me wish I was a US citizen so that I can be under them. Because there's a
Yeah.
feeling of protection they give, even though forcing them from screen.
I hear you. And that's
Do you
because they're
understand?
very vocal. They're very
Yes. So
loud about
and
what they're doing. Yes, I get
exactly,
you.
they're very vocal about it. They don't post every single day. They are not trying to do reels. They are not trying to go viral or anything. But when you go to their page, you see a lot of carousels, things just educating you on how they can protect you, your rights as a voice artist, and a lot of all these things. Right. So when we want to implement that voiceover, I definitely think that's things that should be looked at. Yeah. Now I know that's why I did not ask, oh, what is AVOA doing? Da, 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 da. I understand. We've had that conversation before. Do you understand? But I believe in accountability. That's why I see I just asked for follow-up questions. You understand? I believe in accountability. Okay, let's not go around the same circle again. Since that time, what have we done? You understand? What has AVOA done? So I think that's a good, yeah. It's good, and I hope to see more improvement.
Yeah, we are right back to social media again. So it seems like everything is social media again. AVOA, the truth is, AVOA is doing its best to be louder on social media because if you check, the people at the head are not from the social media era. We are the ones trying to do the whole chain. The people at the head are not the social media. They're not from the social. You get. So, and I think it's also reflecting in AVOA's the way we handle our social media. But we will definitely do this. But this year, allowances plans are on ground to be
Yeah.
louder to amplify our voices. What we're doing on social media, because like you said, Sarah, everything you just said now boils down to amplifying our voices on social media, amplifying what we're doing, basically make noise, let people know, make people aware of what we're doing in the background. Because truly, if we're working in the background and people are not aware, it takes a longer time to get to where we're going to if people are not aware of what we're doing. So yes, I understand and I agree, and we're on it to make our
Well,
voices.
um, a lot has
That's
been
good.
said so
That's good to
much,
hear.
and um,
Honestly,
I want to say thank you for still being in AVOA, still believing in the AVOA project, and still doing what you can, contributing your quota. And I'm also one of those believers in AVOA, because primarily because I believe we need an association to help us push that, move the industry forward. And but then the solution, I'm going to say this because I don't know how often we're going to have the opportunity to talk about AVOA, and having these conversations might not be easy. So now that we have, started it, let's just say a few things that we can say, positively. I'll say that everything starts from the leadership, right? Avoa has to be piloted from an angle where that is what matters. Like it's top priority. Off camera, Sarah and I were having a conversation, and she was telling me about how many people work with her, right? And I'm like, that's amazing. She has to pay these people's salary. That's a sacrifice, or I mean, really. But you can see the results out there online. I've been very productive this year. But it'll interest you to know how many people I have hired, not one, not two, this year alone. And before now, I had people working with me that I pay salaries to monthly. um the point is, the way I see Avoa, there are a lot of things that need to be done to effect the change we desire, but the capacity is not there to carry the entire thing. It's like a huge weight of responsibility. And until we're ready to outsource and also have people that can come in to help, and that's where leadership comes into place, because it's not in all cases that we get to pay for everything that people do. Because it's an association, it's like a community, it's like a society. There will be people willing to give their time and effort and energy, not feeling it because social media
an
too is
amplifier.
down or
Yeah,
is
social.
very
Yeah,
inactive, having to find, and the skill from a position of privilege that I have information
was
towards. I know how and I'm like, you guys need a lot of help.
true.
You know,
True.
it's
It's
a
a
lot. It's a
lot of
lot. It's
work.
very
Like people
it's
have
a
no idea how much
yeah.
work is going on behind the scene and how expensive it is to run the
Mm,
association. A lot of times, a lot of things we do
yeah.
self-funded to get, but we're on it. Ava is working.
It
It
is what
is
it
what it
is.
is. You know what I'm saying?
It
It's a
is what it is.
sacrifice we made.
Avoid deserves it, guys. Don't get it twisted. For like decades, responsible for producing the amazing
if
voices
you
that you heard. It had
like, I
trainings. It liaised with
goodness.
agencies.
If
Yeah,
you
go
know the
on.
amount of work, that's why I have a lot of respect for the Auntie Daphnes, for the Kevushes, for the Isaac Ijomas, for the expos that have gone before us. If you know the amount of work they have done with very little resources to make sure that Ava is still standing till date,
Yeah,
it's challenging.
yeah, they did a
They've
lot.
done a lot, and I give them
Yeah,
kudos. And well done. I think I've seen some of them tell their stories.
we're still bringing them.
Yeah.
I had Eho
Yes.
Mokwale and
Ambrose Mosi.
the person who I Ambrose Mose.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to have more of
Yes.
them.
They have a
Subsequently on the
lot.
as a voice house, like its
Yeah.
secretariat in Lagos, and yeah, even last year, like Avwa came up with the new rate 300 participants, just not as public as people,
Yes, yes,
would
because we've
expect.
not
But
been
then
very
shout out,
vocal.
yeah, but you deserve your
Thank you very
flowers, and shout
much.
out to Shegun
Shout out
Anansi
to
as well,
Prezi.
who has been president for almost 4 years.
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's been a long conversation today, and I love the fact that you felt like giving up, like
Hmm.
you're tired. And what caused it? How did
As a
you?
voice,
Yeah, as a voice of
I
artist.
love I love voiceovers way too much to get to that point. I haven't gotten to
Mm,
that point yet. I love doing voiceovers. I'm passionate about it.
mm,
I love I have had the privilege of meeting great people. I've had the honor of working on projects that are on great projects through voiceovers. So it's an honor to be a voiceover artist. I haven't gotten to that point yet, and I pray I never get to that point. I mean, I remember working on Sesame Street, the Sesame Street, and I saw a clip of my
Wow.
job on YouTube. I got emotional. The Sesame Street. I mean, Sesame Street,
You worked on the Sesame
the Sesame
Street?
Street. And Sesame Street, last I remember, was 50
Wow.
years, 50 years and counting. And I worked on Sesame Street in Nigeria. And I think it was very educational. And, so I've had the privilege of working on projects, working with people, working with organization, working with brands. So it's been a blessing. This journey has been a blessing. So some clients, there have been moments where you feel unfairly treated, unfairly compensated. You don't feel properly compensated for your job. Sometimes outrightly, let's say, bullied. Sometimes some fair to you. But in all, when you look at the love you have for the industry, the love you have for the job, you learn your lesson. You take what you can take from that experience, and you keep it moving. So it's been a
Mm,
privilege. It's been a
mm,
great, wonderful experience doing voiceovers. My colleagues are wonderful people. I have met great people through this job. I have had the working on projects. I have friends home and abroad that something else. I don't know. That's for me. I don't know. I don't know. I've had moments with people, but the craft and
mhm.
no, I haven't ever.
You sound
Yes,
emotional.
yes, it's been a journey. I mean, look at you're saying 20
Wow, shout out
years.
to
It's
you,
been a
Joy.
journey, but God has been faithful, and it's been a
It has.
good.
Yeah. I feel like I met you, but I met you through a gig.
Yes, yes,
You gave me a gig. That's not like the big do a bank
yeah.
of the second night. Since then, we've maintained a
And just
great
as an aside,
relationship. So you're an amazing
thank you. As
person.
an aside, you
Yeah.
produced you. I produced you.
I
I
know, right? This stuff.
submitted the audio
Hmm.
to the client. The client was like, "Joy, you tormented this young man." You could hear,
Oh God.
you could hear the stress that I put you through. He was like, "Joy, you have tormented this young man."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, now, it's a virtual something. I don't want what because some clients can be. How many takes did you even give me?
Don't remember. Like after doing the first stuff, you called me, you told me to adjust something. I did that again. And then you now said, okay, let's have a virtual session. I think that day you were in a
Yes,
car, you had to
that kind of
stop,
thing.
and then you were producing me
Yeah,
virtually. Oh my God.
very
I did it
intense.
over
And
and
the,
over and
and the
over.
guy was like, "Joy, you have tormented this woman." I said, "But are you not happy with the result? Did you not enjoy?" The guy was just laughing. But at the end of the day, right?
Did that, even though I don't have a copy of it. I
And
wish
there
I
are a
had a
lot of
copy of
jobs
that
don't
voice
even
over
go there. There are a lot
myself.
of jobs you don't even have to go.
A lot by Wema Bank. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. A lot of jobs. Sometimes I just run into jobs on YouTube. I'm like, "Yay, this job."
And I find that was done by somebody I know whose voice
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
familiar. I just tag the person
Immediately,
straight
yeah.
up. And it's just like, oh wow. So it works. It works. I can call it a day. But then Sarah is back again. So
Sarah.
Sarah, do you have any, last questions or okay, so Sarah, we can hear you.
Sarah.
Anyways, hopefully Sarah joins us
I
before
hope
we
so
say
too. Hope
goodbyes.
so too.
Joy, if there's anything, yeah, do you have anything you want to
Hi.
ask or say?
So, um,
Great.
I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say before the network rudely cut me off again. Um, yeah, I was saying that. Sorry, quickly had to attend to a client we had a walk-in, so I had to attend to that. Yes, Joy, I was saying that it's been a great time with you, and thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. I hope I didn't miss too much while I was gone.
No,
Can
no,
you
you
hear me?
didn't. We can hear you, Sarah.
Yay!
Okay, wrap up.
Okay, so anybody aspiring to be anything, not necessarily anything, don't give up. Do not let your validation come from
Mm,
outside, because the moment your validation comes from anybody approving your work or approving you, the day the person disapproves, you're going to come. It's going to be difficult for you to. So let your validation of who you are come from within. Don't give up. Voiceovers. If you have a passion to do something, no matter what it is, voiceovers, whatever, whatever your dream is, one, it is valid, value. Wherever you do not always be on the lookout for money. Money will come if you're good at what you do. Make sure you add value. Make sure you learn.
mm,
Never stop learning on the job. And make sure whatever you do, excellence is your watchword. One thing I hate with a passion when I'm doing my work is, let's manage it like that. It's okay, kids. It's That's not my language.
mm.
If it's not 100%, make sure that you are so good at what you cannot be ignored, and invest the time it will take you to be that good. If you have to read for 10 hours a day to be that good, to be that one person they cannot ignore, pay that price. But that whatever price you have to pay to be good at what you do, so good that people are running after you, are coming for you. Make sure you keep adding value to yourself and don't give up. Be very rugged with your dreams, because Nigeria as a whole, or life generally, can be hard sometimes. It wants to squeeze out the juice from you. You just want to give up. Please don't give up. Keep at
Mm.
it. Be dogged. Be rugged. And at the end of the day, like I said, pay the price for whatever it is you're looking for. And at the end of the day, thankful you did.
Wow. Thank you so much,
Wow.
Joy. Yep.
Thank you, Joy. That's it on today's episode of the Everything Voiceover.
Very soon. Very, very soon.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. So have you again. So guys, we will do justice to that. So that's it from me and Sarah. It's your turn to say the goodbyes, and then we're out.
All right. So also don't forget that you can show us love through our Show Us Love link, so that we can support our team, that make sure that we're able to bring the podcast at this quality, and just to support them. And yeah, like Tcode said, please don't forget to send us mails. We love to hear from you. We love to hear. I mean, your writing voice, but we love to hear from you. Ask us questions. Tell us what you want to know, and we'll be super. So until next time, when we get to listen to you, thank you for listening today, and we'll see you next time on the next episode.
That's it. The email is everythingvoiceovers@gmail.com. Just to mention, everythingvoiceovers@gmail.com. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't forget to drop a comment
Bye.
about your favorite part of the podcast.
Yay.
Thank you again, Joy.
Thank you for having me. Mwah.
Mwah.